The views expressed on this program are not those of IntellectualRadio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady Rochelle.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady Rochelle, where we move away from awareness towards action. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive FI with Roland. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, I discussed the lingering scars of survival. You could go over to YouTube and type in Intellectual Radio and stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The quote of the day is, every time you eat or drink, you are either feeding disease or fighting it. Our announcements for today: the National Breast Cancer Coalition will be having their 2025 Advocate Leadership Summit. And this is happening at the Park Hyatt Hotel in Washington, D.C., May 3rd through the 5th. And Lobby Day will take place on Capitol Hill on May 6th. The summit prepares you for taking a meaningful seat at the table. You can go to stopbreastcancer.org for more information. And I want to highlight my sponsor, Emmanuel Church of God in Christ, with Pastor Michael Richardson, who has a special message for us. Child, that ain't Pastor Michael Richardson. Well, that wasn't him. So let's get to Pastor Michael Richardson.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emmanuel Church of Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid
Morning on Facebook Live at Emmanuel at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view those on our YouTube channel at Emmanuel Kojic-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Richardson. And we're from the Emmanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
Joining me right now is our years experience, and she impacts lives every Michelle. Hey, Doc.
Hello, Lady Rochelle. How are you today?
I'm good. Are you here for all the craziness?
Yes. Every day, all day, there's craziness.
I know. But I'm excited about this topic today. I feel like everybody from babies to children, teenagers, adults, even seniors would be able to benefit from the conversation. And our topic is your lifestyle feeding disease or fueling health?
Yes, I love that. I love that topic, that question, because you are absolutely right. Every time you put food in your mouth or whatever lifestyle you choose, it's either, feeding disease or it's fueling your health. It's making a positive change. So if we think about it that way, it makes you think about what are the choices that we make on a daily basis. And then you said something else, which is we tend to think about our health later in life. We think about cancer later in life, but it's really important to start those habits in your youth, right? And instill that in our children, right? About, are you doing the right thing for your body? And I'll say one thing, because when my children were younger and they would ask me for a snack, I would ask them, what did you have, healthy today? So, and that was when they were, 6, 7. If you want chips, tell me what did you eat that was good today, right? Did you have an apple? Did you have some vegetables or what? And if you didn't, if the answer you couldn't tell me, then we would go get that before we got you whatever the snack is, right? Because it's a balance, but it's teaching healthy habits early in life.
I totally agree with that. And for one, I was thinking about just growing up and how we ate every single day. My mom would cook, she cooked all the meals. Like we very rarely went out. It may have been maybe once a year because there was 7 of us. So, including my parents, that's 9 people going to dinner. It could be expensive. So my mom would do breakfast and we would eat lunch at school. And then we come home, dinner would be already ready. And, we wasn't even, after that, we wasn't even hungry. We wasn't going to the kitchen. Like we were satisfied.
Right. Days, we say the old days, right? The type of upbringing, right? Mom didn't maybe not work much out of the home, right? Or she grew up with her mother not, working much out of the home. And so she learned to cook and cooking for a large family, right? That's what our parents did. And my husband always talks to me about he has 4 siblings plus his parents. And so he said they would eat at home. Mom would make food, for the whole family versus going out because it costs too much to go out for 6 people, for 7 people, right? But it's different. It's different now, right? We don't cook as much at home because of, the world we live in and everything needs to be quick. And the advent of fast food, which that's a whole nother discussion. But just to think about, like you said, right? What are we putting in and is it good for our bodies?
Exactly. Well, I was looking up some statistics, and I know you probably have your own as well. But one said, despite leading the world in healthcare spending, the United States often experience poor health outcomes compared to high-income nations.
Yes, our nation does. We don't have the best habits, right? So in the US, we see billions and billions of dollars spent on chronic diseases that are preventable, right? Not even just hospitalizations, medications, loss from work because you're sick, of yourself at home. All of that has caused billions and billions of dollars in the US. And we've talked a lot on your show about the prevention that you can do to prevent you from having a chronic illness, from developing cancer, because a lot of it is dependent on not even just nutrition, but your exercise, right? And we think that, 1/3 of chronic disease and 1/3 of cancer is solely based on your lifestyle. What are you eating? What are you doing? And so,
Go ahead.
yeah, so instill that in the home. You said that first. It starts at home, right? There's only so much that a doctor can do by the time you get to me, right? You're seeing me sometimes not just for prevention, but for treatments. And so in what we teach kids and what we put on the table.
I totally agree with that because they're going to take those healthy habits and they're going to take it over to maybe spill over to their friends. And then when they get married, spill over to their children. So, yes, I would say start them young because they have a better outcome with their health when they start young, eating healthy, especially when
Absolutely.
especially when they see the outcomes of individuals who don't eat healthy. They,
Yeah.
they could be like, oh, nope, I don't want that. I'm not going to do that because I know exactly where that leads to.
Yeah. And the first teachers of children are their parents, right? Are the people in the home, the grandparents, the parents. Those are the first teachers. And so the saying about everything I learned, in kindergarten, or I learned before kindergarten. Everything I need to know, I learned in kindergarten, because by the time you're 5, there's so many habits that have instilled in you, right? And so we spend a lot of our adulthood trying to break bad habits, reverse trends. When we think about diseases that run in the family, right? Those diseases are dependent upon lifestyle things. Are you obese? Are you a drinker? Are you a smoker? All those things contribute. So it's so imperative, and we talk about it a lot on your show, that yes, we can prescribe medications for lots of diseases, right? We have great treatments for cancer. The idea is, as you have children, as you start your journey in life, were you putting in food or fuel, right, for your body?
Exactly. Statistics says U.S. residents spend an average of more than 12.4 years of their life burdened by disease, exceeding that of 182 other countries. That's
And
sad.
we're the richest nation, right, in the world, but we spend a lot of time sick. Sick care, right, is what is burdening the US from all the causes that we talked about. And we don't think about it on a daily basis, but it burdens us not only in money, but it burdens us in time, the time we spend in the hospital, sick, not able to have a active lifestyle, right? When you have all those illnesses that you can't get out, you can't walk, you can't, walk from here to the grocery store. And so there's lots of burdens that come with sickness and illness in the US. And as the country that we say that we are the richest nation, we should do better by our people, right? And it starts with the food that we put in and how we're able to purchase it at grocery stores. Is it available? Do you know what to purchase when you go to the grocery store? And then, we've talked about, neighborhoods. Are you able to get out and walk and do the free exercise of nature in the communities you live in? Because there's lots of different factors that increase your risk for disease and risk for cancer. Diet is one, alcohol is one, your environmental risk. You live in an area where there's a lot of pollutants. We don't even talk about that, right? When we're in the big city, it's great that we live in a big metropolis, but that leads to more car fumes, more from the my husband's from Gary, from the steel mills, right? And the things that it puts out into the air. And his father passed from cancer. And he was around a lot of chemicals in the steel mill because he worked in the steel mill. But we think about all of the things, the environmental things, in addition to the lifestyle things. Some things we can control, some we can't, right? Because we have to do what we have to do, first of all, for employment, if it's exposure at work. That's another discussion about how do you keep yourself safe at work, wearing masks, gloves, whatever you need to keep yourself safe. But the things that we need to know about what your risks are, there's a lot of things that we hear in the media, right, about what's good for us and what's not good for us. We know that, certainly when we talk about nutrition, when you're lacking certain things in your nutrition, that can increase your risk, right? So we talk about vitamin B and vitamin D and those things that your cells need to repair themselves from the pollutants in the air, to keep your DNA healthy. We know that when there's certain deficiencies in vitamins and minerals, it causes damage to our DNA, what makes our cells work. And so when that happens, it increases your risk of disease and cancer. And that's where, we talk about the nutrition piece and how do you get those vitamins and minerals in your diet.
I think I'm going to move, Dr. Michelle, because Singapore was rated as having the top service and state of health globally in 2023.
Wow. And isn't that something?
And,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I like
and
that.
Either we could go to Spain, we could go to Italy, we can go to Iceland, or we can go to Japan because they have strong healthcare systems, healthy lifestyle habits, and favorable environmental conditions. And I've seen some of the videos that they have posted, like from Singapore, Japan, and you can see how they minimize a lot of things. Like we use a lot of things that we use with the chemicals to clean is damaging us, the microwave, like different things that we use inside of the house. Now we got an air fryer, like so many different things going on in the household, which is supposed to be sacred, right? But you're getting sick.
Right.
You're getting sick from
Right.
the things that are there. And I see how simple they live. And it's not like they live in cheap, but they're living simple and clean and healthy, and you're able to breathe and not, breathe in all these toxins. I'm thinking me and my girls are gonna move. You want to come? You want to
A
come?
lot of people think about that
I'm so
for a lot of
serious.
different reasons.
I'm serious.
Yeah, because in some of those countries you named, right? You look at their diet. I know in the Asian culture, it's a lot of fish and fresh foods and things that you can pick right off your tree and grow yourself, right? And so they're getting all those nutritious elements. And in some of those countries too, they don't. Yes, there are cars, but they also bike a lot of places. They do different things. They're able to walk different places. And so with us being, the leader in being one of the countries that we have lots of cars and we're able to make lots of great things in our factories and all of that, it does produce pollutants, right? And how we make our foods, right? So we can talk about the foods that have pesticides that could be damaging your DNA, right? So what things should you not be eating, or you should eat organic as much as you possibly can, right? For some, they can get organic. In some neighborhoods, you're just not going to find organic, right? But you can try to do a couple of things. When we talk about the nutrition, is there's certain foods, it's called the dirty dozen, that you definitely carry a lot of pesticides on their surface. Things like your apples, your strawberries, your berries, things where you eat the skin. Think about fruits where you eat the skin. Those are the ones that you want to be aware of, because that's where the pesticides lie, right? And that's where, if you can at all do organic. So I try to always get organic apples, right? But I may not get organic oranges because I can peel most of that off, right? You don't necessarily need that. But the apples, if you're eating the skin, the strawberries, the berries, you want to try to get organic when you can to limit your exposure to those pesticides.
But I heard people complaining that, oh, it's really not organic. You don't know if it's organic. And then they say, look for the numbers that are on the organic fruit, because that could tell you if it is organic or not.
Right.
So just being
If it has
careful.
4 numbers, it's not organic. If it has 5 numbers, it is organic.
Okay.
So, and it's supposed to be regulated by FDA. So we're going to go with, if they say it's organic, that it's true. That's all we can do, right?
So some of the biggest dietary contributors to chronic disease, like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease, play a part with what we're eating, and it doesn't happen like overnight. So we know, people be like, I eat like this all the time and I don't never have any issues, like I'm okay. And see, they're having a lot of issues. I was talking to my daughter about that last night. I'm like, when we was eating, I was like, they were doing burritos. I was like, I'm gonna have my burrito without eating it like that. You don't like my burritos? Because my daughter don't want the tortilla. I'm just gonna eat it like a bowl. And she's like, oh. I started explaining to her, like, you make choices right now, because later in life, then you're going to be forced to make those choices. But if you start doing them now, like little by little, then it becomes incorporated into your lifestyle.
Yeah, that's very, very true, right? And you have those habits. I love that you're teaching that to your daughter now, right? We talk a lot about what's on your plate. And so making sure that like half of your plate be fruits and vegetables, half of your plate to simplify, okay, how do I know that I'm eating healthy? if it's that colorful, we talk about this a lot, right? The fruits and vegetables are the purple, the yellows, the greens, all of that should be half of your plate, because that's where the vegetables are coming in. That's where your fruits and vegetables are healthier. That's where you're getting your vitamins, your minerals, your iron, all these things we keep saying, oh, you need to put in your diet. It comes from the colorful foods, right? And then the other half can be split into, your grains and your meats, your proteins, right? And you want to make that protein at least a quarter of that plate if you divide it into fours. Meat, that could be lean meats, right? People think, well, you don't want to eat any red meat, but there are lean red meats. If you just figure, I just can't give it up, lean options. There's chicken, there's salmon, there's, fish. We know fish is an excellent source of omega-3 and vitamin D, and those things are great for your cells to function. Because we think that people who are low in vitamin D even are at risk of cancers, like I think multiple myeloma, prostate cancer. And so we check these things, and we don't check these vitamins on a routine blood test, right? Because we know that our food supply, if we're eating the right things, should have those things in it, right? Unless someone is complaining of certain symptoms, then we tend to check. Vitamin D, we pretty much check across the board, because vitamin D is the sunshine vitamin. We don't get a lot of that. We're indoors, we're remote working, we're never outside. And so everyone tends to be vitamin D deficient. And so we will supplement with vitamin D when we find that, because we know that our cells need that for bone strength, for cancer prevention, lots of things.
Ooh, it's a lot to remember what you have to do. And I feel like, and I know I'm not the only one who feel this way, Doc, is that sometimes this can be overwhelming and discouraging when you want to eat healthy, you're trying to eat healthy, you think you're eating healthy, and then, you find out you still have issues going on. And it's just like, wait a minute. Like, even with like this weekend, I felt like I had a bug, like a virus. And I was like, oh no, like I've been trying to eat. Absolutely not. And to fast, I was like, I'm going to from food. So I just picked up me some echinacea tea that had vitamin C and link in it. And I brought me a bag of cuties. So I was eating the cuties because it's vitamin C and drinking my echinacea tea. And so like from maybe 5:00 Friday night, I came home, got into bed, and then I had to work an 8-hour shift Saturday. I made me a big thing of tea. I sipped on that tea all day. And then I did not eat until like later that night. And it wasn't anything heavy. It was a cucumbers for hydration, tomatoes. I had arugula, I had spinach,
Good.
and a vinaigrette dressing, because I
That
wanted
all sounds so good.
I wanted to make sure that what I was putting back in my body was going to be nourishing for me and not heavy and not going against what I did. So I was trying to give my body a chance to rest and fight off whatever was trying to happen. And when I tell you, it took all of maybe 2 days, that Saturday and that Sunday, and then today I was like, okay, I'm good. So
Yeah. So that's a great story, because when you're starting to feel sick, maybe for whatever reason your immune system was a little bit down, right? That could be lots of things, lack of sleep, increased stress, period. I mean, any of that, right, could put you at more risk to catch a virus. But we know that there are certain mineral vitamins that can help your immune system. And so that sounds like what you were doing, right? You got that vitamin D, you got some vitamin C, you got some of the echinacea, zinc, we think also helps your immune system. So giving yourself that when you start is very helpful. Hydration, when you hydrate your body, you drink lots of fluids and tea, water, that also helps to flush out the toxins, the sickness from your body. And so you did the right thing. And then you said when you started to eat, I heard fruits and vegetables, and that was great. And that's what really putting those vitamins, those minerals in your body. Sometimes you need a little bit extra. Maybe you were low for some reason, putting you at risk. But when you can hit that like that, when I feel like I'm coming down with something, I will start taking some vitamin C to boost my immune system, take my vitamin D, start hydrating. And within a couple of days, right, you just want to shorten it and make it not as severe. Because when you don't do it, right, it can knock you out. And like, we know that we've done it. And, oh, yeah, this works. So let me get on it the next time I start to feel sick. Yeah.
Yeah. And this was actually the first time that I did that. I was just like, okay, I want to do something different versus suffering through it. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I just stayed disciplined through it, and it worked for me. So I was glad that I did it, because it was the part of me incorporating healthy things into my lifestyle. So, and that leads into the conversation of like the superfoods and how they are recommended to fuel your health.
Yes. The superfoods, right? You want to, we think about things like those blueberries, those berries, the things with lots of color to them that really add fuel to your body, right? So always, and I love the Mediterranean diet. When we always talk about diets, the Mediterranean diets talks about a lot of those superfoods. Make sure you're getting your beans, your legumes. Make sure you're getting your fruits and your vegetables. Make sure you're adding in, omega-3 and things like that to your diet. And that really, and you're right, it can be a little overwhelming when you talk about, what am I supposed to do to start, feeding my body the right foods? And so, and there's a lot of things that come at us from the media, but to simplify it, I say a couple of things, which is the Mediterranean diet, and anyone can find that online, which incorporates the right foods. I say with your plate, make it half fruits and vegetables, and then the other half is split between your grains and your protein. And then, make sure you're hydrating really well during the day and not drinking a lot of sugary beverages. We haven't even talked about sugar and the things that does to our immune system.
Yeah. So I stopped using the the white sugar, and I moved over to honey and brown sugar. And I know that they're still sweet, but it's just a healthier option for me for right now until I can transition into something else. And even dark chocolate, I do dark chocolate because I know it's part of the healthy choices that you can. But I also have to be careful with the dark chocolate too, because it is sweet, right? And if you eat too much of it, it can cause you to gain weight. So even
but the dark chocolate is good for you. If you get the 70% dark chocolate
so I
or
can eat the
higher,
whole
which is
thing.
hard to
I can eat
do.
the whole.
Well, don't eat the whole thing.
Shoot.
but a little bit every day is great for your heart health.
I do.
Yeah.
And you have to get used to the taste. And now it's so funny. Now my girls, they like it because they's like, "Mom, do you have something sweet?" I'm like, "Dark chocolate." And they're like,
"Oh,
okay."
Right.
And they'll eat it because, they
Right.
want something sweet. It's a healthier option.
Yeah.
So just little things like that you can do, and your taste buds get used to it.
We'll get used to it.
And your
That's right.
body will thank you later. Even when it comes to physical, Doc Michelle, I wanted to exercise. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss exercising. Like that's 2 days. Like I want to exercise. And so I'm on the internet looking up, should I exercise even though I don't feel well? They like, if you've been exercising all alone, a couple of days will not hurt. Okay. So I even was like, with this.
Yeah, and sometimes your body is telling you to rest, right? And that's okay too. But getting back to the foods, I would say honey is great because honey has been shown to have some anti-inflammatory properties. It can help allergies in some people. People give it to their dogs because it helps dog allergies. I mean, so there are good, that's where there's a whole, this is why we have registered dietitians, right? Because to understand nutrition is not easy. People go to school to learn this information. And so sometimes it can feel overwhelming. So we've talked before that if you have insurance that allows you to see a registered dietitian and you are obese or you have any chronic disease, that should be covered by your insurance, right? So use it. And we talk a lot about understanding your benefits when you have insurance. Understand what the benefits are, because a lot of insurances now understand that to take care of their members holistically, right? So it can't just be that we cover you when you go to the hospital and your medications, but holistically, we will offer you a registered dietitian. Some of them will offer you, off gym memberships. So understand what your benefits are, call your customer service and ask them, because a lot of people, I realize, don't use the insurance they pay for to the fullest. And you have those benefits available to you, because it can be confusing, for sure.
It can be. And I like Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is what I have. They send out like their newsletter, and then it breaks down like the different benefits, so you'll know what it have and what you can, participate in. And they do have the gym membership, and it's like $25 for you to join, when it may be if you're not. So I like that.
Right.
And I know the registered dietitian is free. You don't have to do any co-pays or anything like that. So
Yeah, and then I think Blue Cross also has silver sneakers for the seniors, where they get lots of free exercises. They get things online.
Hold on. Are you calling me a sink? Did she just
Oh,
she just shaded
well,
me?
silver sneakers, I would qualify as well.
No, because we're about to be the same age. Okay, well, how old are you? 54?
54.
Okay, we the same
seniors,
age.
Seniors, they've lowered the age for seniors now. Now that we're older, they've lowered the age.
I know.
So.
Some stores have, like Walgreens has a 20% discount for 50 discount for 55. So we need to take advantage of these when we turn 50.
Right, absolutely. And that's important to for you to, learn about the nutrition piece. If you're getting, I know sometimes we get inundated with emails, but my insurance will send me little flyers, what the benefits are, or you can get on their app and they'll send you nutritional information based on your, if you have a chronic illness. You can get a lot of information if your insurance has an app, and I know Blue Cross does, that you can get lots of personalized coaching, and that's included, right? So you don't need to go and get yourself a coach when your insurance is saying, because now we want to treat people holistically. We can't just say, I'm going to help you when you're ill. We need to help you when you're well. Okay.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I wanted to talk about stress and mental health. We always hear that stress is the silent killer, and how it plays a negative effect on your body, especially if it's left unchecked.
Yes. When we live in an age of chronic stress, right? Every day we're bombarded with images, the news, our own life, what stresses we have, in our own lives. And so living under that chronic stress does a couple of things. Some things that you have no awareness is going on in your body, right? It increases your cortisol levels, and it increases your, what we call the epinephrine, the fight or flight hormone. And that makes your blood pressure rise. That makes you hold on to, it actually changes the hormonal balance in your body, which makes you gain weight. So that stress then makes you overeat, right? And then the overeating leads to other poor habits, right? And we know what obesity does for our system. And so understanding that we all have stress in our lives. It's what we do with that stress and how we manage it, which is going to affect your physical health, right? Is it going to give you blood pressure issues? Is the stress, if you're already at risk for diabetes, taking your sugar higher and putting you at risk for full diabetes if you don't have it yet? Is it putting you at risk for a stroke, a heart attack? All of those things can affect your health. And the we used to going to therapy used to be a bad word, right? Saying you had depression and anxiety was a stigma. We're trying to remove that stigma and saying that it's okay if you feel depressed or anxious because we have resources to help you. And that's another thing that insurances are, doing a better job at making sure that we offer behavioral health services to everyone and making sure that it's available telephonically if you don't want to leave your home and see someone or talk to someone. There's lots of apps, right? I love the Calm app. And there's one Headspace. There's some different ones that really can help you sort of manage that even with the help of the resources available.
Yeah, it's because my daughter she said she wanted to see a counselor, talk to a counselor, therapist. But I was just like, why? At first, I was like freaking out. And then I'm like, like if she's asking, then they were able to do it via telehealth. And that was comfortable for her because she did not want to go in the office to talk. And so that was okay with her. And she got some visits in and then she felt okay after that. And if she needs to revisit her, then she can. But we shouldn't, shame somebody, make them feel bad if they need or seeking help.
Yeah, and that's so important in our younger kids, boys and girls, right? To make it okay to talk about your feelings and to know that it's okay to feel sad. And we know peer pressure, especially in high school, is just very, very difficult, especially in the social media era, for young people to manage, right? And it helps to have someone that's not necessarily a parent, and the tools to know, how they, when they're faced with certain situations, how to process it and handle it differently. And so this is something, I'm glad you're touching on it because stress and mental health, as for the young folks as well as the older adults, is very important to. And we talk about recognizing it in others, right? So if you're noticing someone is feeling down or easily to anger, which can be a sign of depression, right? Irritable, just not right, or a change in their behavior, ask them, not just how are you doing, but seem more upset or sad today, right? How can I help you? And that is an open-ended question that hopefully will prompt conversation.
Yes, don't underestimate it. Now, this next one, I know I really need to improve on sleep and recovery. Many people underestimate the power of sleep. And I know you talked about how when you get poor sleep, it does contribute to disease. What are some healthy habits that we can do to improve our overall sleep health?
Yes, yeah. Sleep is so important, and we talk about it that it's the first thing that we give up. But know that you are not getting a good 7 to 8 hours per night. And you're getting 5 hours, right? Think about a couple of things. We say start with moving up your bedtime half an hour and do that for about a week. And when you move up that bedtime, that half an hour, that means you have to turn off television. You have to put the phone away, except on the phone, there are apps that can help with the white noise, the rain, the wind, and those kind of things you can play while you're trying to fall asleep. Studies show that sort of low level noise can help put you to sleep. So you have to create healthy habits. Try not to, if you are an exerciser, don't exercise within an hour of when you're trying to go to sleep, because that actually increases your adrenaline and it makes it hard to go to sleep. That happens to me. I notice when I would exercise after 6 o'clock, if I do something really heavy, I can't get to sleep by my 10 o'clock. And so I have to figure out how to make sure I work out earlier in the day. But so creating some of those healthy habits, like, putting the TV down, TV away, making your room as dark as possible, which is hard for people who work nights. People who work nights, they have poor sleep because they're trying to sleep in the day when there's probably sunlight coming in. It's not the natural circadian rhythm. And so we try to get them to get some blackout shades and use the night, things over your eyes. Get all of the light out of your eyes so you can get some good rest. And that's good for people who work at night to try to get that good night rest during the day.
Well, as we wrap up, I want to talk about really quickly about some healthy, because I know we have a lot of them.
Yes.
Number one, you need to stop eating certain foods.
That not true, right? Have a full balanced diet, and it's okay to have snacks, right? If you really want milk chocolate instead of dark chocolate, have your milk chocolate, right? Because it's all balanced. And I think when you eliminate foods completely, it makes you overeat them when you do get them, right? And so that is certainly a myth. Try to have a balanced diet of all the things that you like, and mostly the healthier foods as much as possible.
A balanced diet is key. Number two, you should not snack between meals.
Right. Again, not necessarily true, because if you are hungry, you should eat, but it's what you're eating, right? If you're going to snack on chips and ice cream cones, then no. But if you're going to snack and have a yogurt, or you're having some almonds or something, that's fine. Celery with peanut butter, whatever that is. Certainly, if you're feeling hungry, you should eat. And we know that there's certain foods that will keep you full longer. So things that are higher in protein will keep you full longer. I always ask patients, if you always craving carbs, chips, popcorn, the carbohydrate ice cream things, you're lacking protein. That means you need to up your protein intake, right? As much as you can with natural foods. If you have to use a protein shake, do that. But we know that when you are not getting enough protein in your diet, you start to crave foods and snacks a lot.
Wow, that's good to know. Number three, healthy eating is expensive.
Yeah. So sometimes we think that is true, and in some it can be when we think about certain communities, right? But we know that all foods, you have to be sort of creative, right? So you can think about maybe going to farmers markets to try to get some of those fruits and vegetables. When we talk about frozen food, frozen vegetables, right? That can be a good way to get a bulk of the vegetables and the fruits in a frozen way. Sometimes we can use canned if it's not in a lot of salt and preservatives. But we want to still get those fruits and vegetables in, and those healthy foods. And sometimes we have to be creative about how we look and search for those in different communities.
Oh, wow. There was a lot of comments over here.
Oh, I didn't see any comments. Oh.
I'm sorry, y'all. I was not ignoring y'all.
Uh-oh.
Marquita said, food heals or kills. That is so true.
It's a choice we make.
Oh my God. She goes, oh no, I didn't know about the air fryer. It has some type of, I'm sure it's whatever it's sending off to cook that food can be positive for you. She said organic starts with the
digit 9.
Oh, so okay. Make sure I look for that when I get to the store.
Yeah.
She shot for wild salmon from Alaska.
Yes.
I heard about
wild salmon. It's the best.
Yeah.
You try not to get the farm raised salmon. If you can get wild salmon, it is better, has the nutrients that you need. And as she said, it's not farm raised with more toxins and things. Sometimes it's hard, but yes.
She said date syrup, date sugar. Oh my God, I never heard of that.
I don't know what monk food either.
Are also good sweeteners that don't hijack your
Yes.
insulin. I'm gonna have
Good.
to look them
Oh
up.
yeah.
I never heard of that.
We didn't even talk about low glycemic foods. So glycemic index, right, is what certain foods will take your sugar up than other foods. So another thing to confuse folks is they can find where certain foods rate on the glycemic index, and low glycemic foods don't take your sugar up as fast as high glycemic foods.
Wow. Cadillac said, "Hey, thanks for joining us. I hope that
Hey.
you're getting some good information that you can utilize in your lifestyle." The last comment of the day is that is a good point about low protein. I crave snacks, no sweets, when I don't eat protein.
Yes.
Girl.
Yeah. And I do a test for myself. If I'm really craving chips or something, I will actually go and make one of my protein shakes. And I tell you, it takes away the craving. When you give your body what it really needs, you will not crave the sweets and the carbs as much, right? We all things, in moderation, but when you're feeding your body the right foods, then you will find that you're not craving the soda pop and the sweets all the time. And your palate gets used to it as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. She says when I don't eat adequate proteins. All right.
Right. She craves sweets.
Doc Michelle, as we wrap up, can you please give some words of wisdom to those who may be wanting to start eating healthy and feel like it may be too late and want to fuel their bodies with some good stuff?
Yes. So it's never too late, right? So think about every choice you make is either body or feeding disease. And what you want to think about is, what are the simple, healthy choices that you can make every day? You started out the show talking about your family and what happened at home. And so part of that is making sure that healthy eating starts at home by teaching our kids, healthy habits, and trying to bring the food in to cook, if at all possible, from your own home. But, that all being said, it's really knowing the simple things, even though it can be overwhelming, that you can do. I like that looking at the color of your plate as a simple option to just get anyone started on what should I be eating, right? And if you can look at your plate and it's mostly green stuff for you. And then to get more detail, you can get the Mediterranean diet, which you can find online, which will give you other healthy things for your body. But it's never too late to start making that first step.
I love it. Thank you so much, Doc Michelle. You always drop so many healthy gems that we can put in our toolbox. Don't leave them there because we're supposed to be using them on a daily basis. So I appreciate you every single month as you educate listeners. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You guys, I appreciate you joining us today. And I will leave you with these words of wisdom. The first wealth is health. You guys join me next Monday right here on Intellectual Radio. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady Rochelle, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on IntellectualRadio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.